The voice was weak, barely carried by the biting wind that swept across the lake. Maya, her threadbare coat soaked through from the morning drizzle, froze mid-step. She had been walking the narrow, gravel path searching for scraps, anything edible, when she spotted movement in the icy water. A man was thrashing, his head bobbing in and out of sight. Without a second thought, she dropped her small cloth bag, kicked off her worn shoes, and dove in. The cold was like knives against her skin, but the panic in the man's eyes pushed her forward. She gripped his jacket, fighting against the heavy pull of the water, until, with sheer willpower, she dragged him to shore. He coughed violently, his expensive-looking wristwatch glinting under the gray sky. Maya didn't notice it, she was too busy checking if he was breathing. When he finally opened his eyes, his gaze met hers, confused, exhausted, and strangely searching. I owe you my life," he whispered. Maya simply nodded and walked away, shivering, leaving him to catch his breath. She didn't expect to see him again. But the next day, curiosity pulled her back to the same path. Across the lake, sunlight broke through the clouds, illuminating a grand white mansion with tall glass windows. She had always admired it from afar, wondering who lived there. That was when she saw him again, standing on the balcony, dressed in a crisp suit. Their eyes met across the water, and his face changed. He disappeared into the house, and moments later, a black car rolled down the driveway toward her. The man stepped out, no longer the drowning stranger but someone who clearly belonged to another world. "You saved me yesterday," he said. "I never thanked you properly." She shrugged. "Anyone would have done it." "No," he replied quietly. "Not anyone. I know what it's like to be invisible. People pass by without seeing. You didn't." His words cut deeper than she expected. Maya's life had been a series of closed doors. She had run away from an abusive home at 16, drifting between shelters and park benches. She was used to surviving on little, her dreams drowned long before she had the courage to chase them. Over the weeks, the man, Daniel Carter, found ways to meet her. Coffee in the mornings, warm blankets when the nights turned colder, and, slowly, a strange friendship grew. She learned he was a businessman, the kind people admired from a distance but rarely knew up close. Despite his wealth, he spoke often of loneliness and regret, how his mansion was silent, his family gone, his success hollow. One evening, he invited her to the mansion. She hesitated, her pride resisting, but hunger and curiosity won. Inside, she was overwhelmed: crystal chandeliers, marble floors, walls lined with paintings worth more than she'd ever seen in her life. But what struck her most was the emptiness, beauty without warmth. "You saved my life," Daniel said that night, "but I think you've saved more than that. You've reminded me what it means to be human." And then, almost as if it was the most natural thing, he offered her something she never thought possible: a home, not out of pity, but because he believed in her. He paid for her education, encouraged her to rebuild her dreams, and in return, Maya brought something into his life no money could buy: laughter, compassion, and purpose. Years later, when Maya stood on a stage graduating at the top of her class, she saw Daniel in the crowd, clapping with tears in his eyes. She realized then that they had saved each other, not just from water or loneliness, but from the quiet death of giving up hope. Because sometimes, the most life-changing moments come from a single choice to stop, to care, and to see the person the world has chosen to overlook. And in the end, the mansion across the water was no longer